Why Men Lie and Women Cry is a fascinating study of why men and women are so different in their thinking, behavior, and emotions. The authors, Allan and Barbara Pease, well-known experts in nonverbal communication and psychology, explain these differences through the prism of biology, evolution, and social factors. If you have ever asked yourself, why doesn't my partner listen to me? Why does he, she do it that way? Or how can we understand each other better? Then this book is for you. It will help you decode the behavior of the opposite sex and learn to interact with them more effectively. Allan Pease, the author of Why Men Lie and Women Cry, was originally a successful businessman, but radically changed his life after failing a job interview due to misreading the recruiter's nonverbal signals. This experience inspired him to deeply study body language and the psychology of communication, which later became the basis for many bestsellers. Interestingly, the book was co-written with his wife, Barbara Pease, and their joint work became a reflection of the book's main idea, effective interaction between men and women. The book helps to understand the reasons for constant misunderstandings between men and women, explaining their differences through the prism of evolution, biology, and psychology. By reading it, you will learn to better understand your partner's behavior, find compromises, and build more harmonious relationships, avoiding typical conflicts and stereotypes. Rule 1. How we become men and women. In this chapter, the authors explore how biological and social factors shape gender differences between men and women from an early age. They explain why boys and girls start behaving differently as early as kindergarten. Gender differences are established in the womb due to the hormones testosterone and estrogen. These hormones influence brain development and form basic behavioral traits, such as aggression in boys and empathy in girls. This means that many behavioral features are genetically determined, not just by upbringing. Understanding that the differences between the sexes are partly due to biology helps to accept these features as the norm rather than trying to change them. For example, if your son loves to play with cars, it does not mean he cannot be a creative person. It is simply a manifestation of his natural inclinations. Imagine you see two children in a sandbox. A boy is building a castle, and a girl is playing with a doll. This is not a coincidence. Testosterone stimulates spatial reasoning, and estrogen develops an interest in social interactions. By recognizing the biological roots of behavior, we can better understand our children and partners without trying to impose external roles or expectations on them. Rule 2. Why men fear commitment. This chapter reveals the reasons why men often find it difficult to make decisions about long-term relationships. The authors link this to the evolutionary necessity of preserving freedom to seek new opportunities. Men evolved as hunters who needed to remain mobile and ready for action. Fear of commitment is connected to the ancient instinct to avoid situations that might restrict freedom of choice. This fear can manifest even in modern conditions when physical freedom is no longer so important. If you want a man to take a step toward a relationship, it is important to give him time and space for reflection. Insistence or pressure may only amplify his feeling of anxiety and desire to run away from commitment. Imagine your partner says, "I need to think." This does not necessarily mean he is uninterested. He may simply need more time to recognize his feelings and make a decision without pressure. Respecting a man's personal boundaries and giving him space for reflection can significantly increase the chances of a successful relationship development. Rule 3. Why women can't read maps. Here the authors explain why women often have difficulty reading maps and orienting themselves in space. The reason lies in the specifics of brain development under the influence of hormones. Testosterone contributes to the development of spatial reasoning, which is necessary for reading maps and navigation. This skill is less pronounced in women because evolution emphasized other qualities, such as the ability to memorize routes and recognize familiar places. To compensate for this feature, women should use additional navigation methods, such as GPS or route descriptions with words. Men should remember that their navigation abilities are not a sign of superiority, but simply a different form of adaptation. If you are planning a trip with your partner, suggest using a navigator instead of a paper map. This will help avoid conflicts and make the journey more comfortable for both. Differences in navigation abilities should not be a reason for arguments. Use modern technology and appropriate strategies to minimize difficulties. Rule 4. Why men don't remember what they were told. This chapter discusses the problem many couples face. Why do men often forget important details of a conversation? The authors explain this by the specifics of how the male brain works. The male brain is focused on solving specific tasks, so it filters information, keeping only what seems important for achieving the goal. This leads to secondary details, such as the date of a holiday or the title of a movie, potentially going unnoticed. To avoid misunderstandings, women can repeat important information several times or write it down. Men, on the other hand, should learn to listen more carefully to their partner's words, even if they seem insignificant. If you ask your partner to buy groceries, try making a list together or sending it via message. This will help avoid a situation where he returns home without half the necessary items. Information filtering is a natural feature of the male brain, but it can be overcome with simple communication techniques. Rule 5. Why women remember everything. Here, the authors talk about the amazing ability of women to remember the smallest details, especially those with an emotional context. This is explained by the specifics of how the female brain works. Women have a more developed connection between emotions and memory. This allows them to remember events associated with certain feelings, even if they happened a long time ago. This feature helped our ancestors monitor the safety of children and family. Men should remember that women may recall old grievances or situations that they have long forgotten. Instead of being surprised or irritated, it is important to listen to the partner and acknowledge the significance of these memories. If your partner mentions that you forgot to celebrate her birthday 3 years ago, it does not necessarily mean she wants to talk about it again. She is simply showing how important attention is to her. A woman's ability for detailed memory is a strength that should be respected and accepted as part of her nature. Rule 6. Why men love watching TV. This chapter explains why men often choose watching TV as a way to relax. The authors link this to the evolutionary necessity of periodically switching off from external stimuli. Men evolved as hunters who needed to regularly restore energy after strenuous activity. Watching TV is a modern analog of a reboot that helps to relax and relieve stress. Women should understand that TV for men is not just entertainment, but a way of recovery. Instead of insisting on active leisure, one can suggest spending time together. For example, watching a movie together. If your partner spends hours watching sports or series, do not perceive it as a lack of interest in you. He may simply need time to restore his energy. Accepting a man's need for relaxation through television can improve mutual understanding and make the relationship more harmonious. Rule 7. Why women love to talk. In this chapter, the authors explore why women talk significantly more than men and how this is related to their biological and social characteristics. The female brain is better adapted to processing linguistic information, which allows women to use speech as a tool for expressing emotions and strengthening bonds. This is a manifestation of the ancient role of gatherers, who needed to constantly coordinate within the group. It is important for men to understand that talking for women is not only about transmitting information, but also a way to relieve stress and establish contact. Instead of offering solutions, one can simply listen to the partner and support her. If your partner shares problems at work, she may not be waiting for advice or solutions from you. It is enough for you to listen attentively and occasionally say phrases like, "I understand you," or "that is really difficult." The ability to listen without trying to immediately fix the situation helps strengthen trust and emotional connection between partners. Rule 8. Why men lie so often. Here, the authors explain the reasons why men resort to lying more often than women, and how this is connected to their desire to save face and avoid conflicts. Men are prone to lying to protect their reputation or appear more successful. This feature is associated with the evolutionary necessity of demonstrating strength and confidence in the eyes of others. To minimize the frequency of lies, women can create an atmosphere of safety and accept their partner as he is. Honesty is encouraged when a person feels they will not be judged for shortcomings. Imagine your partner says he likes your new look, although that is not entirely true. He may be afraid to hurt your feelings or appear unflattering. Open and honest communication helps create a trusting environment where lies become unnecessary. Rule 9. Why women cry so often. The authors discuss why women use tears as a way to relieve stress much more often than men, and how this is related to hormonal and psychological factors. Women produce more prolactin, a hormone that stimulates tear production. Crying helps them cleanse the body of stress hormones and restore emotional balance. Men should understand that tears in women are not always a sign of deep sorrow, but rather a natural mechanism for relieving tension. Instead of trying to stop the crying, you can simply be present and support your partner. If your partner was crying after a hard day, it may be a way to relax and return to a normal state. Your task is to allow her to release her emotions. Tears in women are not a sign of weakness, but an important mechanism of self-regulation that requires understanding and acceptance. Rule 10. Why men don't call. This chapter analyzes the reason why men often delay phone calls or messages, even if they are interested in a relationship. Men generally prefer to keep their distance to avoid pressure or unnecessary commitments. They may interpret frequent calls as an invasion of personal space, even if that is not the case. To avoid creating additional pressure, women can allow the man to determine the pace of communication himself. This will help him feel comfortable and not rush to answer. If your partner does not immediately respond to a message, it does not necessarily mean he is uninterested. He may simply be busy or need time for reflection. Respect for a man's personal boundaries helps create a trusting atmosphere where he will feel free. Rule 11. Why women get upset for no reason. The authors explain why women sometimes seem offended without visible reasons, and how this is related to their increased sensitivity to nonverbal signals. Women are more prone to noticing the slightest changes in a partner's behavior and interpreting them as signs of displeasure or detachment. This is the result of their natural observational skills and desire to maintain social connections. It is important for men to remember that even insignificant actions, such as the absence of a smile or short answers, can be perceived as offensive. Showing attention and care helps avoid misunderstandings. If your partner is offended because you forgot to say thank you, it does not mean she is being capricious. She simply wants to see recognition of her efforts. A woman's sensitivity to details is her strength, which should be taken into account and valued. Rule 12. Why men cheat. This chapter reveals the reasons why men may betray their partners and how this is related to biological and social factors. Men evolved as polygamous beings, which made them more inclined to seek new partners. However, this does not mean that all men cheat. Many choose fidelity, thanks to emotional connection and social pressure. To minimize the risk of cheating, it is important to create a strong emotional bond and maintain interest in each other. Regular communication and attention help strengthen the relationship. Imagine your partner started spending a lot of time outside the home. He may lack attention or new experiences. Discussing these issues can help find a solution before the situation escalates. Understanding a man's biological impulses helps prevent possible problems and strengthen the relationship through trust and mutual understanding. Rule 13. Why women cheat. The authors explore the reasons why women may betray their partners and show that this is more often connected to emotional needs than physical ones. Women are less prone to casual relationships than men, but if infidelity occurs, it is usually caused by a lack of emotional closeness or attention in the relationship. It is important for women to feel understood and valued. To prevent infidelity, men can devote more time to emotional communication and show care for their partner's feelings. This can include regular conversations, compliments, and expressing gratitude. Imagine your partner feels unnoticed because you are often busy with work. She may start seeking support outside the relationship. It is important to find time for joint conversations and showing attention. Infidelity in women is often a consequence of unmet emotional needs, which can be prevented by strengthening the connection and mutual understanding. Rule 14. Why men don't want to go shopping. Here, the authors explain why shopping is rarely an enjoyable activity for men and how this is related to their hunter nature. Men approach shopping purposefully, like hunting. They know what they want to buy and strive to quickly complete the process. They are not interested in spending a long time browsing stores, looking at goods without a specific goal. To make joint shopping less stressful, women can plan purchases in advance and specify the exact items that need to be bought. This will help the man focus on the task, not the process. If you want your partner to accompany you to the store, make a list of necessary items and discuss it in advance. This will make the outing more efficient and less tiring for him. Understanding the differences in the approach to shopping helps make the process more comfortable for both partners. Rule 15. Why women love shopping. The authors reveal the reason why shopping for women is not only a way to acquire things, but also a source of pleasure and social interaction. Women evolved as gatherers, which made them more patient and attentive to details. Shopping allows them to manifest these qualities and also serves as an occasion to socialize with friends. Men should remember that shopping for women is not only a practical activity, but also a form of recreation. Instead of rushing their partner, one can use this time for their own affairs or simply be patient. Imagine your partner spends a lot of time in the fitting room. Instead of complaining, you can use this time to read or check the news. Accepting a woman's love for shopping as part of her nature helps avoid conflicts and makes joint outings to the stores more harmonious. Rule 16. Why men pursue careers. This chapter explains why men traditionally focus on careers and achieving professional heights, even at the expense of personal life. Men evolved as protectors and providers, which made them more ambitious and result-oriented. A career becomes a modern analog of hunting, where success demonstrates strength and status. Women should understand that a man's desire for career growth is not only a desire to earn money, but also a way of self-assertion. Supporting a partner in his professional efforts can strengthen the relationship. If your partner often stays late at work, it does not necessarily mean he is neglecting the family. It may be important for him to achieve certain goals to confirm his success. Recognizing the importance of a career for men helps create a balance between professional and personal responsibilities. Rule 17. Why women create families. The authors discuss why women traditionally take on most of the domestic and family responsibilities and how this is related to their biological and social roles. Women evolved as keepers of the hearth, which made them more oriented toward creating and maintaining a family. They instinctively strive for coziness and comfort in the home. It is important for men to realize that household duties are not solely a woman's responsibility. The equal division of tasks helps strengthen the relationship and increase the level of satisfaction for both partners. If your partner complains about being overloaded with household chores, offer to take on some of the responsibilities, such as cooking or cleaning. This will show her your willingness to support the family together. Joint work on creating a comfortable home helps strengthen the bond between partners and establish equality in the relationship. Rule 18. Why men don't want to talk. Here, the authors analyze the reasons why men often avoid long conversations about feelings, preferring to solve problems on their own. Men are raised in a culture where the open expression of emotions is considered a weakness. They tend to withdraw into themselves when faced with difficulties, instead of sharing their experiences. Women can create a safe atmosphere for communication by being patient and not insisting on an immediate conversation. It is important to give the partner time for reflection and allow him to choose the moment for frankness himself. If you notice that your partner seems worried but does not want to talk about it, do not try to forcibly extract information. It is better to ask if he needs help and provide space for solving the problem. Respect for a man's ability to solve issues independently helps maintain trust and strengthen the emotional connection. Rule 19. Why women can't be silent. In this chapter, it is explained why women talk significantly more than men and how this is related to their biological characteristics. The female brain is better adapted to processing linguistic information, which makes women more communicative. This contributes to the creation and maintenance of social connections, which were important for our ancestors. Men should understand that talking for women is not only about transmitting information, but also a way to express emotions and strengthen relationships. Instead of perceiving loquacity as a problem, one can use it as an opportunity to get to know their partner better. If your partner talks about her day, even if the details seem insignificant to you, it is important to listen to her and show interest. This will show her that her feelings are important to you. Accepting a woman's natural communicativeness helps create deeper mutual understanding and strengthen the relationship. Rule 20. Why men don't ask for directions. The authors explore the reason why men prefer to find solutions on their own, even if it takes more time. Men evolved as hunters who needed to make decisions independently and demonstrate confidence. Asking for directions can be perceived as a sign of weakness or dependence on others. Women should understand that refusing help does not necessarily mean stubbornness. Sometimes it is better to give the partner time to solve the problem on his own and then offer help in a gentler form. If your partner drives around the area for a long time instead of asking for directions, suggest using a navigator or GPS. This will help avoid conflict and make the trip more comfortable. Respect for a man's desire to solve issues independently helps maintain his sense of confidence and respect. Rule 21. Why women always know where to go. Here, the authors explain why women are often better oriented in familiar places than men. Women tend to memorize routes and recognize familiar places thanks to their developed attention to detail. This skill was important for our ancestors, who gathered food and cared for the safety of the family. Men should value this feature of women and use it in everyday life. Instead of ignoring a partner's suggestions, one can try to follow her directions. If you are planning a walk around the city, trust your partner's intuition if she is confident in the route. This can save time and make the journey more pleasant. Recognizing a woman's navigation abilities helps organize joint movements more effectively. Rule 22. Why men love sports. This chapter reveals the reasons why men are so passionate about sports and how this is related to their biological and social roles. Sports allow men to manifest their competitive qualities and demonstrate strength, agility, and strategic thinking. This is a modern analog of ancient hunting, where men competed for resources. Women should understand that an interest in sports for men is not just entertainment, but a way of self-assertion. Instead of perceiving this as a lack of attention, one can join in watching matches or discussing favorite teams. Imagine your partner spends a lot of time watching football matches. Instead of complaining about it, suggest watching the game together and learning more about his interests. Respect for the passion for sports helps find new topics for conversation and strengthen the bond between partners. Rule 23. Why women love holidays. The authors discuss why women prepare so thoroughly for holidays and how this is related to their nature as keepers of the hearth. Women evolved as creators of coziness and comfort, so they pay special attention to holiday events. This helps them create an atmosphere of joy and togetherness for family and friends. It is important for men to realize that preparation for holidays for women is not only an obligation, but also a source of pleasure. Instead of underestimating their efforts, one can offer help or support. If your partner is actively preparing for the new year, offer to help her with decorating the house or choosing gifts. This will show her your participation and gratitude. Joint preparation for holidays helps create a warmer and more harmonious atmosphere in the family. Rule 24. Why men don't want to tidy up. Here, it is explained why men notice clutter less often and are less inclined toward household chores. Men are less sensitive to small details, such as dust or an unmade bed, which makes them less prone to regular cleaning. They may also perceive the home as a place for rest, not work. Women should understand that men do not see some flaws in the interior as sharply as they do. Instead of demanding constant cleaning, one can agree on specific tasks and a schedule. If you are worried about the state of the house, make a list of necessary tasks and discuss it with your partner. This will help avoid misunderstandings and divide responsibilities equally. Clear distribution of household chores helps minimize conflicts and create a comfortable environment for both partners. Rule 25. Why women can't live in clutter. This chapter explains why women are more sensitive to cleanliness and order in the home than men. Women evolved as keepers of the home, which made them more attentive to details and the state of the surrounding environment. For them, order is not only external comfort, but also a way to maintain internal peace. Men should understand that clutter can be a source of stress for women. Instead of ignoring requests for tidiness, one can divide responsibilities or offer help. If your partner asks you to put things away after use, it is not just a whim, but her need for a cozy atmosphere. Try to create a storage system together that will be convenient for both. Respect for a woman's need for order helps create a more comfortable and harmonious home atmosphere. Rule 26. Why men love meat. Here, the authors investigate the reasons why men more often prefer meat and animal products. Men evolved as hunters, which made their bodies more inclined to assimilate protein products. In addition, testosterone increases the appetite for meat, making it a desirable element of the diet. Women should understand that a man's preference for meat is connected to biological characteristics, not whims. Instead of insisting on vegetarianism, one can offer a balance between meat and plant-based dishes. If your partner often chooses a steak from the menu, suggest supplementing it with a vegetable side dish. This will satisfy his taste preferences and ensure a more balanced diet. Accepting a man's natural preference for meat helps find a compromise on nutrition issues. Rule 27. Why women love diets. This chapter reveals why women more often monitor their weight and try various diets than men. Women are more susceptible to social standards of beauty, which often associate the ideal appearance with certain body parameters. This is amplified by hormonal fluctuations affecting appetite and metabolism. It is important for men to realize that an interest in diets for women is not always an attempt to attract attention, but a desire to meet personal or public expectations. Instead of criticism, one can support their partner in her efforts. If your partner has started a new diet, suggest cooking together or choosing healthy foods for the whole family. This will show her your care and support. Supporting a partner in matters of health and appearance helps strengthen trust and mutual understanding. Rule 28. Why men love cars. The authors examine the reason why men are so attached to cars and how this is related to their hunter nature. A car for men often becomes a symbol of freedom, power, and success. This is a modern analog of the horse or weapon of ancient hunters, allowing them to demonstrate status and confidence. Women should understand that a man's interest in cars is not just a hobby, but a way of self-assertion. Instead of underestimating this passion, one can show interest in favorite models, or even suggest joint trips. If your partner spends hours talking about the characteristics of a new car, try asking questions about what he values in cars. This will help you better understand his enthusiasm. Recognizing the significance of cars in a man's life helps find new topics for communication and strengthen bonds. Rule 29. Why women love beautiful clothes. Here, it is explained why women pay special attention to their appearance and choice of clothing. Women evolved as beings for whom it is important to look attractive to the opposite sex in the social group. Beautiful clothes help them express individuality and increase self-confidence. It is important for men to realize that buying clothes for women is not only a practical necessity, but also a way of self-expression. Instead of criticism, one can show interest in her style or give compliments. If your partner spends a lot of time in front of the mirror, instead of dissatisfaction, note that she looks great. This will show her your appreciation of her efforts. Supporting a woman's interest in clothing helps strengthen her confidence and improve the relationship. Rule 30. Why men don't understand hints. This chapter analyzes why men often do not notice or ignore hints, even if they seem obvious. The male brain is concentrated on specific tasks and solutions, so it is less susceptible to indirect signals. This leads to men preferring direct communication. To avoid misunderstandings, women can use clearer phrasing instead of hints. Men, on the other hand, should learn to listen more attentively to the subtext. If you want your partner to help with some task, instead of the phrase, "How I wish someone would do the dishes," it is better to say, "I need your help with the dishes." This minimizes the probability of misunderstandings. Clear and direct communication helps avoid conflicts and improve mutual understanding between partners. Rule 31. Why women can't talk directly. In this chapter, the authors explain why women often use hints or indirect phrases instead of direct communication. Women evolved as beings for whom social harmony is important, so they try to avoid confrontation and use gentler forms of thought expression. This helps maintain good relationships with others. Men should learn to recognize the subtext in women's speech and ask clarifying questions if something is unclear. Women can practice clearer articulation of their desires and needs. If your partner says, maybe you want to help me with the cooking, this may be her request for help. Instead of ignoring the question, it is better to ask directly, how exactly can I help? Understanding the differences in communication styles helps avoid misunderstandings and create a more effective connection between partners. Rule 32, why men don't listen. Here, the reason why men often seem inattentive during a conversation is investigated, especially when it comes to long dialogues. The male brain is set on solving specific tasks, so it quickly switches to finding solutions rather than just listening to the problem. This makes men less inclined to sustained attention to details. To improve the quality of communication, women should give the partner more time to analyze information and avoid overloading him with details. Men, on the other hand, are advised to learn to listen more attentively without the immediate urge to offer a solution. If your partner shares her worries, try simply listening to her without offering advice until she asks for it herself. This will show her that you truly understand her. The ability to listen without striving to immediately fix the situation helps strengthen trust and emotional connection. Rule 33, why women notice everything. The authors discuss why women are much more observant than men and how this is related to their biological characteristics. The female brain is better adapted to perceiving small details, which makes women more sensitive to changes in the surrounding environment or people's behavior. This was important for our ancestors, who gathered food and cared for the safety of the family. Men should realize that women notice even the most insignificant changes, such as a new haircut or clothing. Instead of underestimating these observations, one can show interest and acknowledge their significance. If your partner notices that you have changed your clothes or got a new haircut, thank her for the attention and tell her about your choice. This will show her that you value her attentiveness. Recognizing a woman's ability to notice details helps create deeper mutual understanding and respect. Rule 34, why men don't want to get married. This chapter analyzes the reasons why some men delay or completely refuse marriage for a long time. Men evolved as beings for whom it is important to preserve freedom for decision-making and goal achievement. Marriage can be perceived as a restriction of this freedom, especially if the man does not feel ready for family life. Women should understand that the fear of marriage is not necessarily a sign of a lack of love, but rather a need for time for personal growth. Instead of pressure, one can suggest that the partner discuss his fears and find common solutions. If your partner says he is not ready for marriage, try to find out exactly what concerns him and work together to overcome them. This will help him feel supported, not pressured. Open discussion of fears and expectations helps create a solid foundation for future relationships. Rule 35, why women want children. Here it is explained why motherhood is an important part of life for many women and how this is related to biological and social factors. Women evolved as beings for whom procreation is of paramount importance. This makes them more inclined to the desire to have children, especially at a certain age. It is important for men to realize that the desire to have children for women is not only a personal choice, but also a biological need. Instead of ignoring this topic, one can start an open dialogue about the future. If your partner raises the issue of children, discuss your joint plans and expectations. This will help both of you prepare for possible changes in life. Honest discussion of plans regarding children helps avoid future conflicts and create a shared vision of the future. Rule 36. Why men don't like the doctor. The authors investigate the reason why men rarely seek medical help, even when necessary. Men are often raised in a culture where showing weakness is considered unacceptable. This makes them less inclined to admit health problems and seek help. Women should understand that refusing medical help may be related to a feeling of shame or fear. Instead of criticism, one can offer the partner company at the appointment or find a friendly doctor. If your partner complains of pain but refuses to go to the doctor, suggest going together for a health check or starting physical exercises for overall well-being. This will help create a habit of caring for health. Support and understanding of men's fears help create healthier and long-term relationships. Rule 37. Why women live longer. In this chapter, the authors explain why women live longer than men, on average, and how this is related to biological and social factors. The female body is better adapted to withstanding stress and diseases due to hormonal background and more active self-care behavior. In addition, women more often seek medical help and monitor their health. Men should learn from women's approach to disease prevention and regular checkups. Women can support their partners by suggesting joint visits to the doctor or exercising together. If your partner is reluctant to go to the doctor, suggest going together for a health check or starting physical exercises for overall well-being. This will help create a habit of caring for health. Understanding the reasons for women's longevity can help men adopt healthy habits and improve the quality of life. Rule 38. Why men don't understand feelings. Here it is explained why men often have difficulty recognizing and expressing their partner's emotions. The male brain is less prone to analyzing emotional signals, which makes them less sensitive to changes in a partner's mood. This is because men traditionally focus on solving specific tasks, not the emotional side of the issue. To better understand a partner's feelings, men can ask clarifying questions and carefully observe nonverbal signals. Women should help their partners by articulating their emotions more clearly. If your partner seems sad, instead of immediately offering a solution to the problem, try asking, "What's bothering you?" This will show her that you are ready to listen to her feelings. Developing emotional intelligence skills helps improve mutual understanding and create a deeper connection. Rule 39. Why women better understand other people. The authors discuss why women are more prone to empathy and are better able to recognize the feelings of others. Women evolved as beings for whom it is important to maintain social connections, which develops their ability for empathy and understanding of other people. This makes them more observant and sensitive to the needs of others. Men should learn to notice nonverbal signals and emotional changes in their partners. Women can help them by clarifying their feelings and providing feedback. If your partner says that her colleague looks tired, it may be a sign of her attention to the state of others. Try to show interest and support her observations. Understanding the features of female empathy helps create more harmonious relationships and strengthen social connections. Rule 40. Why men love money. This chapter explains why success and stability for men are often associated with financial well-being. Money is a symbol of power, status, and the ability to provide for the family for men. This is connected to the ancient striving to be a provider and protector. Women should understand that a man's desire for career growth and financial success is not only a practical necessity, but also a way of self-assertion. Instead of criticism, one can support the partner in his professional efforts. If your partner works hard to achieve financial stability, try to show interest in his goals and acknowledge his successes. This will show him that his efforts are valued. Recognizing the importance of money for men helps find a balance between career and personal life. Rule 41. Why women love gifts. Here it is explained why gifts have a special meaning for women and how they affect their emotional state. Gifts for women often symbolize care and attention from the partner. They perceive them as an expression of love and respect, which strengthens the emotional connection. Men should pay attention to the choice of gifts, considering the interests and preferences of their partner. It is important to remember that even a small gift can have great significance if it is chosen with love. If you want to please your partner, choose a gift that reflects her interests, such as a book by her favorite author or a piece of jewelry she has long desired. This will show her that you are attentive to her wishes. Gifts help strengthen the emotional connection and demonstrate care for the partner. Rule 42. Why men love power. The authors investigate the reasons why men strive for leadership and power and how this is related to their biological and social roles. The desire for power from men is part of their nature, which allows them to demonstrate strength and confidence. This was important for our ancestors, who competed for resources and status. Women should understand that a man's desire for power is not always a manifestation of selfishness, but a striving for self-realization. Instead of perceiving this as a threat, one can support the partner in his leadership qualities. If your partner strives to take a leadership position, Support him in this endeavor and help him find a balance between career and family. This will show him that you believe in his abilities. Respect for a man striving for power helps create an atmosphere of trust and mutual understanding. Rule 43. Why women love romance. In this chapter, it is explained why romance has a special meaning for women and how it affects their perception of relationships. Romance for women is often associated with a feeling of safety, care, and emotional closeness. This is connected to their nature of creating warm and trusting relationships. Women are inclined to see romantic gestures as confirmation of their personal importance to their partner. Men should pay attention to small romantic gestures, such as compliments, gifts, or joint evenings. Even small displays of attention can significantly strengthen the bond between partners. For example, a note with warm words or an unexpected candlelight dinner can become a significant event. If your partner loves romance, try organizing an evening with her favorite movies or arranging an unexpected picnic. This will show her that you value her and strive to create special moments. Romantic gestures help strengthen the emotional connection and create deeper relationships. Rule 44. Why men love competition. Here, the authors investigate the reasons why men are so driven by competition and how this is related to their biological characteristics. Competition for men is a way to demonstrate strength, confidence, and leadership qualities. This was important for our ancestors, who competed for resources and attention from the opposite sex. Modern life offers many forms of competition, from sports to careers. Women should understand that a man's desire for competition is not always a manifestation of aggression, but a way of self-realization. Instead of perceiving this as a threat, one can support the partner in his efforts. For example, if your partner is interested in sports games, you can show interest in his successes. If your partner participates in competitions or works in a competitive environment, acknowledge his achievements and support his goals. This will show him that you believe in his abilities. Recognizing the importance of competition for men helps find a balance between personal and professional goals. Rule 45. Why women love cooperation. The authors discuss why women prefer to work in a team and how this is related to their social nature. Women evolved as beings for whom it is important to maintain social connections, which makes them more inclined to cooperation. They are better adapted to working in groups and solving collective tasks. Harmony in relationships is important for them, which contributes to effective cooperation. Men should learn to use the advantages of teamwork, especially if they work with women. It is important to value their ability to find compromises and support others. For example, if your partner suggests dividing responsibilities, accept her proposal. If your partner suggests solving household issues or working on a project together, participate in the process. This will help create more effective interaction and strengthen trust. Cooperation helps create more harmonious relationships and increase productivity in various areas of life. Rule 46. Why men love technology. This chapter explains why men are so interested in technology and new gadgets. An interest in technology for men is related to their natural desire to master new tools and solve problems. This is a modern analog of the ancient hunting tools that required skill and knowledge. Technology gives men the opportunity to demonstrate their knowledge and skills. Women should understand that an interest in technology for men is not just a hobby, but a way of self-assertion. Instead of underestimating this passion, one can show interest in its practical application. For example, if your partner is enthusiastic about a new smartphone, ask him to show you its functions. If your partner is interested in technology, suggest he talk about how he uses new devices. This will show him that you share his interests. Recognizing the significance of technology in a man's life helps find new topics for communication and strengthen bonds. Rule 47. Why women love art. Here it is explained why art has a special meaning for women and how it affects their emotional state. Art for women often becomes a way to express feelings and emotions, as well as a source of inspiration. It allows them to create beauty and harmony in their lives. Women are more inclined to the aesthetic perception of the world, which makes art an important part of their lives. Men should pay attention to their partner's interests in art, visiting exhibitions, concerts, or even trying creative activities together. This will help strengthen the emotional connection. For example, suggesting a visit to an art exhibition can be a pleasant surprise. If your partner is interested in painting or music, suggest visiting an art exhibition or music festival together. This will show her that you value her interests. Respect for art helps create a deeper emotional connection and develop shared interests. Rule 48, why men don't admit their mistakes. In this chapter, it is explained why men often avoid admitting their mistakes and how this is related to their culture and upbringing. Admitting mistakes can be perceived as weakness or loss of face for men. This is because they are raised in a culture that values confidence and resilience. It is important for them to maintain a reputation as a strong and decisive person. Women should understand that admitting mistakes for men is a difficult process that requires time and trust. Instead of insisting on immediate admission, one can create a safe atmosphere for an honest dialogue. For example, instead of criticism, suggest finding a solution to the problem together. If your partner made a mistake, instead of criticism, suggest finding a solution to the problem together. This will show him that you are ready to support him, not judge him. Creating an atmosphere of trust helps men admit their mistakes more easily and work on correcting them. Rule 49, why women are always right. Here, the authors investigate the reason why women often consider themselves right, even when they are not. Women evolved as beings for whom maintaining social connections is important, which makes them more inclined to defend their point of view. This is connected to their nature of upholding the interests of the family and children. It is important for them to be heard and understood. Men should understand that a woman's desire to be right is not always a manifestation of stubbornness, but a striving to protect her beliefs. Instead of arguing, one can focus on finding a compromise. For example, if your partner insists on her point of view, try listening to her arguments and suggesting a joint solution. If your partner insists on her opinion, listen to her and suggest an option that takes both interests into account. This will show her that you respect her position. Finding compromises helps avoid conflicts and create more harmonious relationships. This is such a wonderful book. I have compiled a separate list of all the important theses from this book, along with all the techniques and tools, and created a step-by-step action plan that you can immediately implement in your life. You can get all this in my community, Place of Power. There, you will find a detailed text analysis with similar lists for each book being reviewed. The community has already thoroughly analyzed and made available to you hundreds of world bestsellers, with a new analysis released every day. Follow the link in the description and use it.